Live is brought to you by Feldco. For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866-4FELDCO, Chicago's home renewal experts. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Hooters. At Hooters, originality isn't just one thing, it's everything. World-famous wings and more, served up by the iconic Hooters girl. Hooters, always original. Dr. Pepper, an American original, just like our Chicago Bears. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Special Olympics Illinois. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Learn more at SOILL.org. Take that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Ryan McGuffey. It's Feldco Football Recap Live. Yes, I'm sitting in for the birthday boy, David Kaplan, who either is getting drunk or is hungover because it's his 40th birthday. So Alex Brown is here. Tom Waddle is here. Do you guys remember your 40th birthday?
Yeah. Do you? Well, you're probably close to your 40th birthday.
I am.
It was 17 years ago for me.
Well, then you might not remember it.
Oh.
Well, I don't remember 21. And it wasn't because I'm old.
21 is different, though.
Yeah, that started early in the morning.
Yeah.
21 I just realized before the show, because I looked this up, that AB and I are almost 3 months to the day apart. So
Really?
yeah, so we're both we both can maybe remember our 40th. But
How old? How old are you guys?
45.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, so it's in the objects in the mirror closer than they appear type situation. Anyway, Alex Brown is sitting in for the future Hall of Famer Olin Kreutz. Tom Waddle, of course, here every week. Tom, he ranks 36 all time in Bears yards as a receiver. 36
wow, that just
time.
You know what? That speaks to just how inept the organization is.
You ready I'm ready to blow your mind, though. There's
Pretty good.
That list goes to 497, by the way.
You know what happened? When we were talking last week and we were talking about draft status, and I know Alex was a fourth rounder. I think Olin was Olin a third rounder?
Yep.
Third rounder. So I went back. I was free agent. And that was back when there was 12 rounds. So as we used to say to one another, if you couldn't get drafted at 12 rounds, you really sucked. But I went back and looked. There were only 5 guys in the 89 draft class that ended up having better stats than
you
my.
put that in the text chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't discredit.
You know what? I'm puffing the chest out.
Hey, you're 36 all time in the charter franchise of the NFL.
Yeah. I did the same thing.
I said, so Alex, as we found out a couple weeks ago at Hooters,
he's fourth
all time in sacks behind a couple of guys you maybe have heard of before named Dan Hampton, Mongo McMichael, and Richard Dent.
I'm playing with all 3 of them. Yeah.
So AB sitting in for Olin Kreutz, who ranks dead last, 497th all time in Bears receiving yards at -8.
He's going to be pissed at you for that.
Really?
Trust me.
He caught a pass?
He caught a pass October
and ran backwards?
Well, I think it was my guess is it was a tip ball and that it just kind of fell into his hands. But it's October 5th, 2003. They won that game over the Raiders. But because of that, I'm telling you, I said this is going to be a stat that blew your mind. I was like, there's no way in hell Olin Kreutz ranks 497th, which is dead last in Bears receiving yards. So I just wanted to you're sitting in for the man. I had to point out that the future Hall of Famer also ranks as a Bears receiver, 497th.
In that game, I got my first interception in that game.
October 5th, 2003?
Yep, and against the Raiders. Yep.
Dude, I mean, come on. You can't even make this up anymore.
You can't. I got my first interception in that game. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so the fun's over. Now it's time to talk about the kick in the teeth that we got on Sunday. It is our Feldco game breakdown. Brought to you by, or not Feldco, it's brought to you by Four Seasons for all the right reasons. Four Seasons. Guys, we all lived it. You guys take it a little harder. It's 11 straight losses to the Green Bay Packers, which is, it's honestly, it's tough to say that Matt LaFleur is 11-0 all time. This had all of everything was going perfect. the Bears, the way they played, the way they responded after a tumultuous week. You had your rookie quarterback lead the team down, put them in game-winning situation, and then the Packers blocked the field goal. So, Tommy, just your reaction to the, like I said, the kick in the teeth on Sunday.
Yeah, like losing to this Packers team, unfortunately, has become, it's been way too common. I still consider it, despite their dominance over the course of the last several decades, I still consider it one of the better rivalries in the National Football League. I'm sure they would disagree up there, and they probably look to the Lions and the Vikings now. I have to tell you guys, every loss hurts differently. This one didn't hurt nearly as bad as I thought it was going to, because my focus at this point, and I've told you guys this in the past, is the development of this young quarterback. I had no delusions that this Bears team was going to win a Super Bowl. And based on how they played the previous 3 weeks, my biggest concern, or my biggest focus, was getting their young quarterback back on track. And I thought he played really clean and really, really well. He didn't throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, but the ball came out quick. Thought he made some really good, quick decisions to run when he needed to. When they needed him to play big in the final 2 minutes of that game, he delivered. Ultimately, they didn't win the game. And I know it's sacrilegious to say this, but, because it's the Packers, I got to say, Alex, like, I felt worse about the loss to the Cardinals and the loss to the Patriots than I did this one, because I saw the quarterback get back on track. And to me, that's bigger picture stuff.
Alex? I understand what you're saying. I understand that. I understand the big picture. I don't like losing, and I know you don't either. I can't do the losing. And when you have a chance to win and it's that close, and it comes down to the kicker. I mean, the kickers, they play. I mean, you look at the punter. Everybody talks about Torrey Taylor. Torrey Taylor plays. I think he played 2 plays in that game. He punted twice. Like, if you don't play that much, then when you do get out there, you have to do your job. You have to come through. And that's not Cairo's fault. The kick got blocked, okay? The kick got blocked. The offensive lineman, you have to do a better job. Maybe the refs. I went back and watched that play 6 times, 7. And you can't hit the damn snapper.
Yeah.
Like in today's game. In today's game, you can't do it. We used to early in my career, you could line up, head up the damn snapper and just roll him over, like just crush him. But you can't do that anymore. So this should have been something, in my opinion, called for that. Yeah. I don't like the losing part. I know Caleb has to develop. I'm with that. But at the beginning of the year, in training camp, if your goal isn't to win the Super Bowl, then I think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I would say this too. Like this effort, they played hard, and their execution was significantly better in this game than it was in the previous games. And this was the type of effort I was expecting coming out of Washington. Like, you're going to tell me that, listen, that was a difficult loss. That was a catastrophic loss based on how it happened. But you got to be stronger than that. You can't be that fragile as a team and as a coaching staff that you can't get past that. I mean, at that point, you're 4-3. You got 10 games left. And I was just really disappointed in how they played against the Cardinals. I was even more disappointed with how they played against the Patriots. It's never acceptable to lose to the Green Bay Packers, but at this point, I think there is going to be some change at the end of the year. I don't think they're going to win jack shit. So, like, and I don't think it, and I wouldn't even classify this as a moral victory. This young man is the most important guy in their building right now, and you need to get him back on track. So, I would have much rather that they won that game 22-20 than lose it 20-19. But at the end of the day, I was happy to see that the kid got back on track in a certain.
So I want to get into Matt Eberflus here in a minute, but I just want to read this off because this is what stands out to me, kind of going back to what you were talking about, Tom. And this is why it hurts, because when you look at the totality of the stat sheet, the Bears won the first downs 23-19. They were 9 of 16 on third down, 3 of 3 on fourth down. They ran 25 more total plays than the Packers. They outgained them. They outrushed them. The time of possession was 13. The Bears had 13 more minutes of time of possession plus 1 on the turnover takeaway, and you walk away with an L. And I just find, like, it just seems that the best quarterback on the field, in my opinion, wore number 18, and they have nothing to show for it. You have a coach that let the clock tick down. I think there's debate there. It didn't chap my ass the way it did Cap as much, I probably would have ran a play, but I don't think it's why they lost the game. It's just tough to look at those stats, guys, and say, how in the hell did we not come away as winners here? Because it looks like another example of winning organizations find a way, losing organizations find a way. Tommy?
Yeah, I can't dispute that. Look, I would have continued to play the game. So I don't think the coach made the right decision. You had 30 seconds at a timeout. You have a kicker who, has been very accurate at Soldier Field, but he doesn't have a strong leg. So anything beyond 30, 38, 39, 40 yards is going to come in on a low trajectory. And I think the 53-yarder that he kicked was a line drive as well. It was interesting too, because that in the post game, Matt LaFleur talked about how Rich Bisaccia, their special teams coach, said the night before in their Saturday night meeting that he was going to be pissed off if they didn't block either an extra point or a field goal, because they saw something in the tape that they thought they could take advantage of. Now, I agree with Alex. I think that, they missed a call. And I think the NFL has come out and said the guy who was in charge of that call was a rookie official. And it's just unfortunate that the Bears didn't get that call. But look, your quarterback was playing well at that time. He was in a rhythm. I would have continued to try to move the football down the field. At the end of the day, though, it's been I think it's been one of the things that I've harped on quite a bit. I know that people have been banging on the OC and Shane Waldron lost his job. And I thought that he did some things that, it was legitimate, the reason why they let him go. But I always look at players too. And I don't let, at the NFL level, I don't ever make excuses for players. So at the end of the day, would I have continued to try to move the ball down the field? I would have, but you got to secure that offensive line, and Cairo's got to make a 47-yard field goal. So it's a combination, Ryan. You said it. It's this. There are teams in the league that find ways to win for whatever reason. Our favorite team has found ways to lose.
Never like when the special teams play of the game is a play that decides it for the opposing team. But in this case, Special Olympics Illinois, this is the special teams play of the game. It was the blocked field goal that decided it. We'll talk more about that. Should there have been a flag for leverage? When voices tell you I can't or you won't, we simply say I did. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Learn more at soill.org. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Here's the part that sucks to me about letting the league or turning the tape into the league. And I know Matt mentioned it multiple times, and I think I saw Mike Pereira discussing it today, saying the league got it wrong. I almost wish that stuff wasn't made public. I mean, who cares if the Bear? It's not like you can appeal the loss. You don't get anything for it other than another example that's sent to the other teams around the league saying you can't do this. Right. Pereira had said, that they had just been informed less than 10 days ago around the league. Another example. It sucks that it's made public, because all it does is chaps everybody, where for the remaining parts of the season, because you can't go back and fix the standings, Alex.
No, you can't. And it does suck. I'm with you. I wish they didn't actually come out and say it. They would tell the team, and if the team want to share it, then share it. But let's move on, because you can't change what's happened. They've never changed it. They're never going to. Never going to go back and give you the win because somebody made a mistake or a ref didn't make a call. So let's move on from it. As far as the game and how it played out, I really don't know, man. I don't know if Eberflus tells us a lot that he pays attention to the details. They don't let anything go. They're real focused on the details. And if he's not trying to get 6 or more yards where your kicker is perfect, I think he's 70 for 70 when under 40 yards. If you're not trying to get there, then you're not paying attention to the details. If you want to sit on a 46-yard field goal, 47-yard field goal where he's 73%, well, you're leaving room for error. You're leaving a chance that he's going to miss. I'd rather the 100%. Now, you also have to have a feel for your team. You have to have a feel for how this game is being played, because if you don't believe we can get those 6 yards and not have a negative play, because if he goes up and they call a play and somebody jumps off sides, now it's not a 46-yarder, it's a 51-yarder. And now you're sitting there wondering, like, why didn't he just kick it then?
But is that not coaching scared, though? I mean, to hear the explanation that you might jump off sides, there might be a hold, there could be a fumble. We can go back the last couple of coaches.
Okay, so Ryan, what is the limit then? Is it 40 yards then? Because at some point you have to make a decision saying, okay, this is good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
you have to make that decision at some point.
Like, that's what I'm saying. I didn't have a problem.
I think, Alex, I think you defined it. I think it's inside the area where he is 70 for 70. Yes. At that point, I think that, and again, at the end of the day, like, I think there have been more egregious mistakes made by Coach Eberflus. Mm-hmm. Go back to the Washington game, go back to the Cardinal game. I mean, like, I can list you different things. I don't think this is the reason why specifically they lost the game. I think for me, it's more of a big picture issue that there consistently seems to be moments where the decisions that are made by the guy in charge are in question. But again, I don't want to let the players off the hook, because you're not this isn't seventh grade football. Mm-hmm. You know, this is the NFL. Guys are handsomely compensated to do their jobs. And, you know, it's a reason why, like, I was down on them against the Patriots and down on them against the Cardinals. And I get it. The offensive coordinator at times didn't give you, you know, the best chance to get the best out of yourselves. But, like, there's no excuse for effort. And again, I go back to, Ryan, one of the things I said earlier. One of the things I was glad to see, or happy to see, was I thought there was better execution across the board. But I just saw guys, you know, like, there's a play. They ran 5 wide receiver screens. You factor in, like, there was a shovel pass to DJ, but in total there was 5 wide receiver screens. Thomas Brown didn't run the offensive scheme like significantly different. Thought they were less predictable. They didn't always run it when Caleb was under center. They didn't always throw it when Caleb was in shotgun. So they did some really good things. But there's a play where Rome Odunze drives a Packer cornerback into the sideline 10 yards deep. Like, this is the first game where I've seen wide receivers help each other out on wide receiver screens and get their blocks. Like, the effort was noticeably different in this game, and I'm happy to see that. But I'm disappointed that I haven't seen it more frequently, if you know what I mean.
I think we have to really, like, understand, and I know you understand it. Losing teams, or when you're losing so much, you have to learn how to win.
Yeah,
you do. You have to learn how to win. And that is going through these situations and losing big games, like, just like boneheaded plays to lose a game, so you understand what not to do. And if that player does not get it, well, then it's up to the coach to stop putting him out there and get rid of him. So Lovey came 04. Hell, it might as well have been the same team from 03, because we didn't do any better. Okay, so then 05 came, and it was the same thing. Like, that first 4 games, we started out that season 1-3. Like, people forget that, and we weren't very good. We weren't playing very well. And then it happened, and we figured out, if we just play this way, stop beating ourselves, we have a chance to win. Yeah. That carried over into 06. Now, when we talk about the OC for this particular team, after 06, we changed the DC. Urlacher's still there. I'm still there. Ogunleye still there. Peanut's still there. Vasher, Lance Briggs, everybody, Tommy Harris, everybody's still there. Why the hell we go from the top defense in the league to 26? Because it is how people call plays. In situations, what do they call? And the players believing in them. So I saw a team that believed in the plays that were being called, and they wanted those plays being called. They played harder. I don't like it, but that's what I saw.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about 18, Alex, to your point, as players, can you learn how to win while losing, knowing that the future of the coaching staff is very much in doubt? Because Thomas Brown can be fantastic the rest of the year, but it's unlikely he's here if the entire staff's being fired. So how do you as a group take that into 2025 when you've lost tough games? And if you have coaches that either you don't know or are trying to believe in and learning how to do that.
Be a fucking professional.
I agree.
The way I would say it. No, I'm not yelling at you, Ryan, but I would just say emphatically.
But Alex is telling you that they had Pro Bowl players and Hall of Fame players go from top 5 to 27th because of the way the plays are being called.
It's just believing. It's believing in what. Like, I can run it, but we complain. Now we're a really good team. We're a really good defense, and Ron Rivera would call something out there, and Urlacher would be, I don't give a fuck what he calls. We just run it. We make him right. And once we got to that point mentally, then it was over. Once we got to that point, so whatever he calls is gonna be right. We'll make him right. It's okay. All right. He called a blitz this time. God, I'm beating the hell out of this left tackle. I don't really want to blitz, but that's fine. I'll beat him on the outside anyway and do my job, right? So those are ways that you can do it. I don't know. What you said about the OC doing well, I think that's a flawed way to look at it, honestly. Because if you have the next, I'm not saying he is. If he is the next Shanahan and he actually shows that he's really good, you should keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you just, we're just going to blow everything up because we got to get a new coach. We're going to blow the whole thing up. Well, hell, if he does as well, like you need an offensive coordinator. And at this point, I think our offensive coordinator has to be the head coach. If he shows that Caleb Williams can take a step and be a top 12 quarterback over the last 8 games of this season, absolutely. I think he should be the front runner for this head coaching job at the Bears.
All right, let's talk about Caleb Williams in our Winging It segment brought to you by Hooters. Speaking of which, we will be out at Hooters next Tuesday, all of us, and Cap as well, unless he has something else to celebrate. Out at Orland Park, make sure that you make your phone calls and your reservations so you can come out there and be with us on site. Caleb Williams, 23 of 31, 231. He ran the ball 9 times for 70 yards. He was 3 of 3 for 49 yards on that final drive. He was just fantastic. That back shoulder throw to Roma Dunze on 4th down was absolutely amazing. And you look at his release point, only Tua Tagovailoa got the ball out quicker on Sunday than Caleb Williams, which we know, guys, has been a problem for him under the Shane Waldron scheme. So you guys have already alluded to what you liked about 18 and what this means about, like, everything about the season going forward we know is about Caleb Williams. And Alex, you said if Thomas Brown could string games together, he's auditioning too, right? He might be auditioning for the head coaching job. I see the comments lighting up. There's people who are still not happy with Caleb Williams, but I think he outplayed a $200 million quarterback on Sunday, Tommy.
Absolutely. And if Thomas, and this is coming from, like, listen, Thomas Brown played at Georgia, okay? I can't stand him to a degree, okay? Like, just understand that. So I'm saying this, even though he played at Georgia, if he can help Caleb, I don't care. It's just like last year when we were talking about winning. I want to win. I don't care what the name on the back of the jersey says. I do not care. I want to win. So I want a coach that can help 18 because he is the face of the franchise currently. He's the guy. So I want somebody that can help him grow. And if he shows over the next 8 weeks or so that he can help him grow into a different quarterback that we've seen so far, I'm all for it, man. Let's go.
I think the theme of this game was simplify everything and get the ball out quick, and you saw that. And I think prior to the 2-minute drive, there was only one pass that traveled better than 10 yards that was completed. That was the little seam or the corner route that he threw to Cole Kmet, which was it was a sail route. It was a beautiful throw, one of his best throws of the year. But everything else was quick. And I got no problem with it. I thought that it was very efficient, and one of the best ways to protect your offensive line is to make sure that the ball comes out fast. I thought, at least in the first half or the first 3 quarters, I thought Caleb had more of an effect on that defense with his legs than he did his arm, to be honest with you. It was 1, 2, 3. If I don't see it, I'm going to eject the pocket and I'm going to run. Not only did he scramble well, but I thought one of the other things that Thomas Brown did, was he put that read option back into the game plan. Mm-hmm. And there were 2, 3, maybe 4 times where they ran it. And if you watch some of the Packer film leading up to this game, their front seven's they're very aggressive. They're very undisciplined. And I thought it was a great strategic move by Thomas Brown to put the read option back in. And you saw on more than 2, 3, 4 occasions, Caleb did a really good job. Caleb's never going to make you forget Justin Fields. Justin is an elite, once-in-a-lifetime type.
I forgot Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, from a running standpoint,
back up in Pittsburgh, you're talking about?
Caleb is Caleb's not going to do that. But Caleb's a really smart runner of the football, and he's athletic enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was a really good move by Thomas to bring in some of that read option. And I thought, at least in the first half, the first three quarters, as good as he was getting the ball out quick, I thought he was also a weapon running the ball. And that's why they controlled the clock for 36 minutes. As you said, Ryan, they converted 9 of 16 third downs or something in that.
3 of 3 on fourth. Yep.
You know, they were 6 of 40 in the previous 3 games on third downs.
Yeah.
So
if you're 50%, you're doing pretty damn good on third down conversions. Do you think he was being told to sit in the pocket? I saw him take off like faster than I've seen him take off all year.
I think that it was emphasized all week long, and all he had to do was throw the film on in the last 3 weeks where he was standing there and he was patting the ball, and there were guys open. He was just reluctant. I think, Alex, he has vacillated between in the last 3 weeks prior to this game, trying to do too much, playing hero ball, and then at the same time just not letting it rip. And I think finally they got to him and they said, look, if it's open, throw it. And there were a lot of, like I said, there was only one completion that traveled better than 10 yards prior to the 2-minute drive. So I think it was something that they just consistently pounded into him. See it, throw it, get it out, and live, make positive plays. Nothing, we don't want, I think they're first or second in the league in negative plays, which puts you behind the sticks. I don't think they really ever, other than a couple of times, got behind the sticks. And I thought it was the reason why they were much more efficient offensively.
Yep.
Got to sneak this in at Hooters. Originality isn't just one thing, it's everything. World famous wings and more served up by the iconic Hooters girls. Hooters, always original. Again, we'll be in Orland Park next week. Matt, can you put that comment back up on the screen there for a second? Because I wanted to see what you guys had to take on this. I want to ask you one more question about Caleb, too, and his leadership. But Laz said Sunday it's Thomas Brown versus Brian Flores, winner take all in 2025. It's attractive. Like, what do you guys think about the idea of Brian Flores as Alex, you just said it yourself. Like, this feels like it needs to be an offensive head coach. And usually that's what we've seen that, when you go defense, it doesn't work. You go back to offense. Offense doesn't work. You go back to defense. But Brian Flores, man, he's dialing it up again.
Well, the reason I'm saying it is not because I don't think the offense worked or the offense coach work or the defensive coach work. I'm saying it because of the state of the team. You have 18 there. And if you hire an offensive coordinator, and it's going to be a very similar situation that we saw down in Tampa when Lovie Smith was the head coach. They had an offensive coordinator, and then they went and got Jameis. I think it was Jameis Winston. And then he did well. You don't want the OC to leave, so you got to make the OC the head coach. So you bring an OC in. Sure, if he does what you want him to do, and he actually does well, he's going to leave. He's going to go get a head coaching job somewhere, and you want to keep him. So that's why I think while you have 18, if you're building a team around him, then you have to really consider an offensive coordinator that can help Justin from the head coaching position. So that's just my thought. That's my take on it. I'm a defensive guy. Chicago Bears scream defense. I love punching a joke in the face.
I love that, but it's 2024.
Oh, gosh,
man. We can have both.
Yeah.
We can have both. We can have both.
See, you can't have Peyton Manning and the 85 Bears. You can't have it. It's just not. You can't do it.
I just want Kirk Cousins in the 85 Bears. I mean, come on.
I have a preference that I would prefer an offensive-minded head coach, but I'm not married to it. You could definitely convince me that you could have a defensive head coach, but if you find the right, like if just hypothetically, if Brian Flores was the guy, Boston College guy, by the way, you have to tell me what your offensive coordinator, what your plan is. Like, who's your guy?
He's working with a damn good one up there. I know he's a head coach, but he's getting that.
Listen, Kevin O'Connell is like as good a play caller as there is in the league.
Top 5, right? Top 5 in the league. Yeah.
He ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
No, but I'm saying being able to absorb a guy like that, maybe your mind changes when you're putting a staff together off of that tree. I'm saying. Yeah,
I think, look, there's so much football left. I mean, every week is a season, for Christ's sake. And, I thought, Alex, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think you're going to get a natural bump anytime you switch coordinators. Like everybody's going to be energized, and you're going to see a natural bump from that. The unfortunate part now is Caleb is going to face a defensive coordinator that's probably as exotic as anybody in the National Football League. Brian Flores is going to show him shit he's never seen in his entire life. They give up 308 yards and 17 points per game, both top 10. They're tied for the league lead in takeaways with 21. They're third in the league in sacks with 35. Like, you're not going to see basic shit from the Vikings. Now, it doesn't mean that Caleb can't succeed. This will be, though, his biggest challenge, I believe, as a professional. And I thought Houston did some really interesting things in week 2. But this one, I think, is one where he's going to be tested in a lot of ways. So, again, all I'm saying, Ryan, is that before we do any talk about who's going to be the next head coach, what I want to see is I want to see the young quarterback continue to make improvement. And this is going to be one of those tests. And I'm glad it's at home because you can control the snap count. It's better than being in their building. But this is going to be a nice test for everybody involved.
It definitely will be. The Houston comparison, I think Houston team is a little different in the sense of with Daniil Hunter and you got Anderson as rushing. They didn't really have to do blitzes. This Minnesota team sends a blitz, and they put their team, in my opinion, I think they put their team in a position that you can have big plays on them.
You can, yeah.
So he has to. So what Caleb, I think, has to do is to be able to pre-snap reads, understand where the blitz is coming from, and then find the one-on-one. Now you have 3 really good players that can win one-on-ones for you. So just like the 4th and 12, you threw that ball to Odunze. There's going to be a lot of those opportunities coming up in this particular game.
Yeah,
you got to hit on them, and the receivers got to help. So you put a lot of onus on the receivers going up and beating your one-on-ones. It's very simple. Like when I see a receiver one-on-one, they say it's a 50-50 ball. I look at it, the defensive line, you get one-on-one. That's the best you're going to ask for. In the National Football League, that's the best you can get. Let me get one-on-one coverage. Let me get one-on-one blocking with this offensive tackle or this guard, and I'm good. Like I'll be able to do my job. So I think that's what we'll see. A lot of it's just going to be recognizing it pre-snap because Flores is the real deal. He is the real deal.
All right, let's step aside for a break. But before we do, let's name our apt player of the game for all your favorite game day snacks. A new Whirlpool range is the perfect choice for best appliances for football season. Shop at Apt, pleasing people since 1936. We went with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, as I said, you guys have said it too. Best quarterback on the field, war number 18. Let's see if he keeps putting steps together. Remember, use the promo code Kaplan25 for $25 off your next order. We will look ahead to the Vikings game and more after this brief timeout.
The days are shorter and the chill is setting in. Is your home ready to face the cold?
Feldco's energy-efficient windows can save you money and keep you warm this winter. Right now, buy one window and you'll get one free. Plus, no money down and no interest until 2026. Specifically designed for the Midwest, our windows are also backed by nearly 50 years of experience in the industry.
Buy one window, get one free, and soon. Call now.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Apt. For the best appliances for football season, shop at Apt. Pleasing people since 1936. Find them at apt.com. 4 Seasons, heating, plumbing, air conditioning, and electric. For all the right reasons, 4 Seasons. When you're on the tollway, peace of mind is just a call away. With the Illinois Tollway Star 999 service, help is always at your fingertips. Whether it's a flat tire or an unexpected breakdown, our dedicated team is here to assist you anytime and anywhere on the tollway. Drive with confidence knowing that Star 999 is just a dial away. Remember, Star 999, we're always there when you need us.
All right, welcome back. Let's do our Chevy Drive of the Game, brought to you by Chevy, Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. And guys, we went with the 10-play drive right before the half that ended up with Roschon Johnson in the end zone, and the Bears kind of taking command of the game leading into half and taking a 10-7 lead into the locker room. So a long drive that led to the touchdown. You like to see the Bears grabbing the lead back, and the Bears took a halftime lead and a lot of momentum. One thing I want to ask you, Tommy, about Caleb, you know, you love to see a quarterback, regardless of status, taking over and taking control of a game, but especially when you have a coach that's been indecisive at times, as you guys have mentioned. I loved when at 4th and 2, when he's yelling at the sideline, we're going. And it was one of those moments that showed me maturation and growth of a guy that was asking to be pulled off the field because he was staying on it come hell or high water to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, I like it, but at the same time, I got to make sure that my head coach, he could be screaming at the sideline and it'd be 4th and 8, and he'd be like, well, let's go for it, and it's not the right decision. So I always want my quarterback to feel that way, but I also want the guy on the sideline to have a level head and be in charge of everything that's going on. Look, I thought the drive was fantastic. I said going into the game, the Packers do a lot of good stuff, but offensively they're mistake prone. The quarterback was tied for the league in interceptions. They were second or third in the league in penalties. They were second or third in the league in drop passes. So my thought is when they make a mistake, you got to make them pay for it. And they did that. That was a drive where, if you guys remember, it was 7-3. They're in the red zone. If, in fact, Jordan Love doesn't airmail Kraft his tight end, either Kraft maybe gets in the end zone or they're moving the ball in. There's a really good chance that gets to 14-3, and we're looking at a different game. But what did the Bears do? They found a way to take the ball away. And not only did they take the ball away, when the Packers made the mistake that made them pay for it, they took the ball and drove it all the way down the field. That totally, for me, changed the entire outlook of the game. It went from helpless at 14-3 to hopeful when they took that ball away and drove it down the field and took the lead going into the half.
14-3 is like, here we go again type of shit.
Right. Yeah.
And 10-7 is, you know what? We might be able to win this damn thing. You know what I mean? Like that. So it changes the whole mindset of the players too. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right, let's talk about the defense. You mentioned the big pick that they had. They had the stop on 4th and goal when it was the quarterback keeper Jordan Love was stuffed at the 2-yard line.
Yep.
But then the 60-yard play it was unfortunate. I mean, Jalen Johnson was on the score earlier this week, and he mentioned that he actually thought he was in position to make the pick until his feet kind of just went out from underneath him. We've seen the turf at Soldier Field. But your thoughts, and let's talk about it. It's the Dr. Pepper play of the game, the Christian Watson 70-yard or 60-yard catch. I'm sorry. He had 4 catches for 150 yards, including this 60-yarder. Dr. Pepper, an American original, just like our Chicago Bears, pleasing taste buds. Since 1885, Dr. Pepper has a unique combination of 23 flavors, a winning formula that football fans love. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. I'm holding the creamy coconut in honor of Cap's 40th birthday a few decades ago. That's his favorite flavor. So in honor of our guy, that's the creamy coconut, which, acquired taste, if you ask me.
No.
But I will say that drive, right when everything seemed to be going, it's a 19-14 lead. You have the Packers on the ropes at home, and then you have that catch that really ends up being the backbreaker, guys, to kind of setting up the go-ahead touchdown.
Well, I saw that happen early in the game, man. You mentioned Watson had 4 catches for like $150. I mean, he had another one. He had another catch down the field where they got inside the red zone, and that play ended up them holding them and stopping Love at the 2-yard line or the 3-yard line or whatever. Just because they get down there don't mean they have to get in. So I would have liked the focus to change a little bit and understand that we've done this before. We can stop them or hold them to a field goal or make them go for it on 4th down. But it's not just because they got this, they have to get in the end zone. The effort from our best player, I'd like to see him running harder after Watkins, after he gets up off the ground, because this is your play. Now you got everybody scrambling, trying to make a play that you should be on. So I didn't really appreciate that effort on that particular play after he got up, but I thought the team could have focused a little bit. The defense could have focused in a little bit more, being you are the heartbeat of this team currently. If you go, we go. They know that. So you gotta hold them there. That's my thing.
Yeah, if you go back and look at the release, Jalen Johnson tries to mug him at the line of scrimmage, and he does get a piece of it. But Watson, to his credit, I mean, he's got sprinter speed. So you better make sure that, like, you really knock him off his route.
Yep.
Watson got by, and Jalen was in decent position, and then he just tripped on his feet for sure. But once they got in the red zone, I actually thought that was a really good example of LaFleur. And I think LaFleur is a fantastic player. But I thought LaFleur made a bad decision because you got to know your team. They got that ball in the red zone. And the Bears are the number one red zone defense in the league. The Packers are 32nd, dead last in red zone offense. At that particular moment, if I'm a Packer fan, it's 4th and goal from the 6-yard line. I kicked the field goal. He went for it. I thought it was a bad decision by a really good coach. But I give the Bears all the credit in the world. They did what they do all the time, and that's really stiffened their spine in the red zone. I believe the Packers got into the money zone 5 times, and the Bears held them out 2 of the 5 times, which is hard to do. But I mean, I thought that was a difference in the game, in a lot of ways. I mean, I thought that the Packers did have a chance to kind of distance themselves from the Bears, but the Bears found a way not only to be good on third downs defensively, but they found a way to keep them out of the end zone on a couple of those drives.
Now, Alex, what's your thought? I mean, Jason here has a comment about no lack of pass rush. We know Billings is out for the year. Montez Sweat, guys, is clearly playing hurt. I mean, he's just a different player. I know he was questionable all week. He fought to get on the field. It doesn't look like the same guy the Bears acquired last year at the deadline. Jason says they need to get 2 pass rushers in the offseason. But look, when you have injuries, it's tough to just say, oh, okay, well, they're lacking that. You have guys that are down. But with a lack of pass rush and the explosiveness of teams that are ahead, we know Minnesota, they can be explosive just because they have a damn good play caller as their head coach. And the Lions are playing video games right now. So
yeah, they are.
How, Alex, when you're banged up on the D line, or you have a lack of pass rush, how do you make up for that on the other, the back 7?
It's, man, I'm telling you, it's mindset all day long. For me, it's mindset. I tell my kids all the time, if you can only play when you're 100%, you need to find something else to do. Because if you can't be effective and not be 100%, you're only going to be 100% maybe that first game of the season. And that's it. Everything else, you will not be 100%. So you have to be able to be effective when you're not. And right now, we're not seeing that from Montez Sweat. Now, I don't know what's wrong with him, but if you dress, to me, you can play. If you dress out and you're on the field, to me, you can play. So that's coming from a guy that played 9 years. I ain't miss a game. So I understand what it's like to be on the field and not feel 100%, but you got to be productive. So be productive. Now, what I think it was Jason Hunt, what he said was, he was spot on, because I was actually in Chicago. I'm in my hotel room throwing stuff. Like, what the hell? We got 3 one-on-ones. You got the nose guard. He's being held up by 2 just to keep that pocket clean so the quarterback can step up. But then you got one-on-one on the other 3, and nobody's winning. Shit, to me, you need 3 new rushes.
Yeah.
If you can't win one-on-ones, you cannot win in this. You can't play in this league. You have to be able to win one-on-ones. You can't be the guy that can only get to the quarterback by running games on the defensive line. You have to be able to beat one-on-one.
I think we all kind of felt that way too coming into the season, as optimistic as we were. I think most people who were realistic felt like they weren't good enough on their offensive line. And outside of Montez, when healthy, they weren't deep enough or good enough on their defensive line. And at the end of the day, especially when you play in this division, you got to be able to win at the line of scrimmage. And I mean, Jordan Love had all day to throw. I mean, Sam Darnold is a quarterback coming up on Sunday that is affected by pressure, as most quarterbacks are. If you can't get to him, and you let him sit back there and get comfortable, he's going to pick you apart. He's got Jordan Addison and the best receiver in the game, arguably, in Justin Jefferson, and they've got a good tight end and a good pass catching running back who's outstanding as well. If you don't put pressure on Sam Darnold, it could be a long afternoon for you trying to stop this Vikings offense.
Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
No, absolutely. I mean, any quarterback. Go ahead. My bad, Ryan. Go ahead.
No. I mean, I mentioned the Lions playing video games earlier, but look at how they're built. When Dan Campbell came in, they are built from the inside out at both sides of the football. And yes, they have injuries, and they're not making excuses. They're hanging 40 and 50 points a week on teams. And I don't know what to expect on Thanksgiving. I know that's we have another game.
You know what to expect. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that to go.
That's true.
Don't do that. You know what to expect.
Yeah, well, I mean, before we actually break down and get our picks for the Vikings game, I know it's all about 18, but I mean, honestly, guys, is there knowing that they have the toughest schedule remaining in the NFL because that North is so damn good, what is salvageable other than the success and path of 18? Because other than that, you look at it, it's murderer's row the rest of the way.
So for me, I understand that. I get it. There are teams you're going to run into that are good. Nobody's unbeatable. There's only been one team that was unbeatable, and that's 72 Dolphins. Okay, so there's a way to beat them. There's a way to beat them. How do you beat them? And I think they had a really good game plan on how to beat the Green Bay Packers last week. It just didn't happen, right? I want to see a really good game plan. You go out and you execute on that game plan against Minnesota. And I want to see the same thing. It seems so crazy, but with a less talented football team, we should have beat Detroit twice last year.
100%.
With a less talented football team. So now coming into this game, I don't think they got better. I actually think they got worse because Hutchinson's not there. So they are built from the inside out. We chose, and I love Odunze. We chose to go with Odunze and not get the offensive lineman, right? We chose the receivers as opposed to building the meat up front to protect those receivers and quarterbacks once you get them. That's preference for polls, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
the punters.
It is what it is.
I know you love that pick. And punters in the fourth round. I mean, it's just
the punter in the fourth round is the part that get me, man. I can't not when the best punter in the damn league is a seventh rounder and the next four is free agents. So that is just quality of the pick. So, but there's a way to beat everybody. That's what I was getting at. There's a way to beat everybody. So put a good game plan in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Go out and execute the game plan. Whether you win or lose, just know that you can go out and execute a game plan. That's what I'll be looking for.
You always have incentive. I mean, like, look, if you're one of the elite players in the league, you're trying to, maintain your level of play. If you're one of the middle of the road players in the league, possibly you're on the cusp of being a free agent. You've got to continue to go out there and show so that you can get paid. If you're a younger player that hasn't really established yourself, you have the incentive to go out there and try to establish yourself, so I'm not trying to suggest that these are all individual goals, because at the end of the day, if everyone's pulling on the same end of the rope, you're going to get to where you want to go. But at 4-6 and the schedule, the difficulty of the schedule going forward, like, you can't tell me that there is that this is incentive for guys to let go of the rope. This would be an incentive for me to prove that my ass belongs in this league against the better teams in the National Football League. And if everybody takes the same approach, guess what? We'll win some of these games. And some of those wins will project to a better feeling about whatever happens next year. Like, there's nothing negative or bad that comes from winning a game. So, I will be very disappointed if from this point forward we find any type of dip in the effort from these guys, because again, I would advise anyone out there, regardless of your level of play or regardless of your level of accomplishment, the eye in the sky, don't lie. It's always on. Somebody will always have film on you. And if you're not inspired to be the best team, certainly you should be the best you and be inspired to be the best you, which then ultimately will benefit your team. So at 4-6, it sucks. It's not where I had hoped or thought that they would be at this point. But, you got 7 games left. That's a lifetime for yourself and for your organization.
100%. We lose to the Carolina Panthers in 2005 in the playoffs. Okay, the Carolina Panthers didn't go and lose to Seattle. That next year, I think it was the third game of the season, we had Seattle. And it was a point. Like y'all better be glad y'all didn't play us last year, because you wouldn't have made the Super Bowl. And we beat the dog out of them. Yeah. And it's just like those little things, understanding, and that's what I mean when I say understanding how to win. Like, we knew that game was going to be big, and we probably have to see that team again. So we're going to make a statement here. And guess what? We had to see that team again. divisional, I think it was the divisional round of the playoff, and we had to kick a field goal in overtime to win. But
Rex to Rasheed Davis, I'll never forget it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Yes, the Rasheed Davis catch on a seam route, and then once we got in range, no, I'm not worried. Once we get under 50 yards, Robbie Gould is we going to the next round. Like it's over. I think the guys actually have that type of confidence in Santos, but you have to have the guys up front do their job and block. And if we had done that, we'd be having a totally different conversation right now, because we'd be talking about what 18 is doing and more than a few times. End of the game, end of the half, he's putting points on the board. When most quarterbacks, when their heart rate rises in those situations, he just doesn't. He just goes. He just does it. He did it at Washington, and then guess what we did? So he went down, touchdown. We go down again. Our former OC decides he wants to give it to the backup center. Fumble, doesn't deter 18 at all. He takes the next drive, go right back down, score, we take the lead. Unfortunately, we don't win that game. So he doesn't get credit for that, and we don't talk about that enough. This game right here, same thing. We don't talk about it enough, how he took us down. That drive was so deflating. You could hear, I'm watching it on TV, and everybody in the stands were quiet. It was like, damn, they just scored. Like, here we go again. And now 18 comes out.
And after 2 sacks. It's 3rd and 19 too.
Yes, it's 3rd and 19.
Yeah.
And he decides on a damn back shoulder throw to a rookie.
4th and 3. Come on.
A beautiful throw that, like, the kid, he has ice in his veins. The kid, he's going to be so good. I just want somebody to be able to teach him how to play the position, and we have that person in place. If we can get that person in place, man, we're gonna be good for a long time. And I think 18 is gonna have a lot to do with how good.
And look, you got 7 games left for him to continue to make those plays and learn. That's it's a lifetime. There's so much left in this season for so many people for so many reasons. So, Ryan, to your point, I get it. You're 4 and 6. I'm not going to talk crazy here and suggest that they could find their way. The funny thing is too, if I could digress for a second, can you all imagine what the narrative would be if Cairo hits that field goal?
Oh yeah.
Think about it. You've slayed the dragon for the first time. You've beaten the Packers in the first time in 11 years. You're 5-5. You've turned the tide after 3 horrible losses. You're only a game behind the Packers. We would be sitting.
You fired your OC and look at
we would be having a different conversation. Now we're not. I get all of that. I'm just trying to kind of make the point that every week in the National Football League is so very important, and there's so much that you can gain or lose by it. At 4 and 6, I would not be punting right now mentally. I would be out there. I'd be sharp as the day is long. I'd be working hard, guys' jobs and your careers are on the line. There's a lot to be accomplished going forward. So I know it's going to be a stiff challenge going forward, but rise to the challenge.
Tom, we talked about this earlier now. We talked about this earlier, and we talked about how this group of kids, and I know we the old guys, but these kids don't think like that.
Yeah.
I challenge you to tell me a time where somebody got demoted at practice and they walked off the damn field.
No.
Or
needed a minute.
In the middle of a play, the receiver runs off the field. This is totally different. The stuff I see now is just totally different. It's crazy.
Before we go to our game picks, let me ask you real quick, because we had Kevin Byard, who recorded an episode of Intercepted on the channel here with TJ Edwards, and they were talking about just how it hadn't been 24 hours yet. And I know, Alex, you guys had the 24-hour rule. I think everybody did that's ever played a game of football. But how these feel like longer than 24 hours. And then I heard Cole Kmet on his podcast on CHGO mention TJ, since him and TJ both grew up here. And they said they looked at each other in the weight room earlier this week and said, man, this looks like the same shit we grew up watching, and now we're living it. That's what I'm saying. I like hearing that, I think, but don't get caught up in the same tornado and shitstorm that the narrative's been the last 40 or 50 years either. So be part of the solution and not the problem. Don't be sitting here every week going, man, I don't know. This feels like 30 hours or 40 hours rather than 24, right?
I never understood that, though. I never understood that, Gov. I just, most of the kids here, they're not from here. You got TJ and you got Cole Kmet. I'm going to talk about me, okay? I grew up in Florida. I knew nothing about the Bears. My only information on the Bears came from Tecmo Bowl. That's it. I didn't know anything.
That's a damn good team.
I didn't know about I didn't know the rivalry about Green Bay and the Bears. I had no idea. I had no clue. If you don't play here long enough, the fans that grow up in this, they have to understand there's a learning curve here. Like, I don't know I'm supposed to hate this team. I don't even know why I'm supposed to hate them. And then you start digging a little bit and you find out that, wait a minute. So Mr. Hallis, the owner of the Bears, actually went up there to help them keep their team? Like, and you start learning this stuff. You're like, oh, okay, well, this is starting to make a lot of sense. Okay. All right, they're green. I hate them. Like, all right, fine. I hate them, but I have to learn that. I have to get to that point. And all the bad stuff that's happened, Caleb wasn't here. I thought I heard it. Caleb was a sophomore in high school the last time the Bears beat the Packers.
He don't care.
He don't care. Like, that has nothing to do with him. Like, it does not matter. That was his first game against the Packers. And he is pissed off because he put us in a position to win it, and we didn't win it. So that's all. He don't care about what happened before that. The 10 games before that, he could care less. Yeah. He couldn't care less, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's wrap things up with our look ahead brought to you by the Illinois Tollway. When you're on the Tollway, peace of mind is just a call away with the Illinois Tollway's 999 number and service. Help is always at your fingertips, whether it's a flat tire, an unexpected breakdown. Our dedicated team is here to assist you anytime and anywhere on the Tollway. Drive with confidence, knowing that star 99 is just a dial away. Remember, star 99. We are always there when you need us. We know what's going on here, guys. We've talked about O'Connell. We've talked about Flores. We've talked about Darnold. It's been plug and play for them. They haven't missed a step. They're 8-2. You see all the stars here. Justin Jefferson. And I know we're wrapping things up here, but, Tommy, I'll start with you. Like, what are the keys to getting back? What are the keys to fixing this thing? Because it's been 4 brutal losses in a row, some at the end, some where they've just been flat. I mean, you've had 2 games that look pretty similar to me in the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers, and then 2 other games that look eerily similar in the Arizona Cardinals and New England Patriots. So how do things get fixed this week?
Well, I think you have to continue to take care of the football, and they've done that. I mean, and it hasn't resulted in wins, but you have to take care of the football. This is, I said earlier, it's a really aggressive defense. It's a very exotic approach that Brian Flores takes. 35 sacks, 21 takeaways. So they're a big play defense. So your young quarterback, just, don't be afraid, but be cautious and be aware of what's going on around you and play the way that you did this past week. Defensively, you got to protect against the big play because, Jefferson is the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. I think this is a tough challenge for them. I really do. I think that I felt this way weeks ago. I thought that the Vikings were going to be a bigger challenge for them than the Packers just because of what they, bring in terms of the defensive approach. I don't think Sam Darnold is a great quarterback, and I think you've seen recently that he's come back to earth a little bit, but I think this is a pretty steep hill to climb, to be honest with you.
I tell you what, the best game that we've had all year was against Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville, yeah.
In London.
Yep.
Jacksonville gave this team hell. I am watching and breaking down how Jacksonville prepared and played against them. That's what I want to see. I want my team to understand that the team that they struggled against mightily, and Jacksonville probably should have won that game. They struggled mightily. We beat the dog out of. Okay? So don't tell me we're out of this game. Okay? Don't tell me we're out of it. Let's find some ways that we can win. Let's find some things that Jacksonville did that gave them trouble. Okay? And now let's implement that. And let's execute once we get to Sunday. That is what I'm looking at. I don't want to see any other film. I want to see the Jacksonville tape. And I want to see how they beat them, how they beat them up, what happened. You have to, if you cannot leave Jonathan Grenard. I've been watching Jonathan Grenard since college. Okay? He played at my Gators. He's the only person over the last 25 years to truly come close to getting that sack record. I think he had 11. The kid can rush the quarterback. Do not leave him out there one-on-one. He'll wreck the game if you leave him out there one-on-one.
Tommy, what do you got for a score?
I would say this will be a 24-20 victory for the Minnesota Vikings.
That's what I had. But I can't claim that now. What do you got, Alex?
I'm going the other way, man. I'm going the other way. I think Justin Jefferson has a good game. But if he does, you just can't let Addison and all those guys have a good game too. You got to beat one-on-ones. I think the Bears can build on what they did last week. It's home, so yeah. It has to be low scoring. 2017, Bears win. Same deal. Game tied at 17, and Cairo Santos kicks a field goal to win it. Yes, absolutely.
I'd love to live in a world one day when it looks like 52-6, like it was at the Lions.
That'd be nice.
It'd be nice to just not sweat for 4 flipping quarters. But
100%.
That's the life of covering and loving the Chicago Bears. Guys, we appreciate you. Remember, next week, you guys will be there. Feldco Football Recap Live from Hooters in Orland Park. We'll be there from 8 to 9. Show up early, get your drinks in. I know we'll partake in some food. Show begins at 8. Call for reservations. Appreciate you guys. Alex, thanks for pinch hitting tonight.
For sure. I hit a bomb, man. I'm pinching. I'm going for the fifth.
Dude, it's clean, man. We got runners on with nobody out in the ninth. Yeah, it's a great slam, my man. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week.
Appreciate it. Y'all too.
The days are shorter and the chill is setting in. Is your home ready to face the cold?
Feldco's energy-efficient windows can save you money and keep you warm this winter. Right now, buy one window and you'll get one free. Plus, no money down and no interest until 2026. Specifically designed for the Midwest, our windows are also backed by nearly 50 years of experience in the industry.
Buy one window, get one free, and soon. Call now.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Feldco Football Recap Live is brought to you by Feldco. For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866-4FELDCO, Chicago's home renewal experts. Your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers, the official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Hooters. At Hooters, originality isn't just one thing, it's everything. World-famous wings and more, served up by the iconic Hooters girl. Hooters, always original. Dr. Pepper, an American original just like our Chicago Bears. Grab an ice-cold, refreshing Dr. Pepper today at a McDonald's near you. Special Olympics Illinois. Special Olympics Illinois, so I did. Learn more at SOILL.org. Apt. For the best appliances for football season, shop at Apt. Pleasing people since 1936. Find them at apt.com. 4 Seasons, heating, plumbing, air conditioning, and electric. For all the right reasons, 4 Seasons. When you're on the tollway, peace of mind is just a call away. With the Illinois Tollway Star 999 service, help is always at your fingertips. Whether it's a flat tire or an unexpected breakdown, our dedicated team is here to assist you anytime and anywhere on the tollway. Drive with confidence knowing that Star 999 is just a dial away. Remember, Star 999, we're always there when you need us.
Some days, you've got big things to care about. Like that. And that. Luckily, the Whirlpool Smart Range automatically updates itself with features like Air Fry. So you can worry less about keeping up with the latest tech and care more about keeping up with the latest trends. Say cheese. Everyday care, Whirlpool.
To see the full line of Whirlpool appliances, shop at Apt. Pleasing people since 1936.